Hi everyone, and welcome to Ruth Reacts to Books. I'm your host, Ruxie Ruth McGouth, and this is Season 2, Episode 46. And today I am reacting to an Audible original, Slayers, a Buffyverse story. And if you know me, you know I'm a big Buffy fan. And me and my friend Katie used to have our own Buffy the Vampire Slayer website way back in the day. We used to run back, we're really nerds. We ran our own kind of role-playing website on this thing called bulletin boards where you could write stories, and I played Buffy and she played Willow, and we continued the story after the show ended. I know, they continued the story in comics, but we continued it too on the World Wide Web. Anyway, so this is an Audible original. So what I'll do is I will tell you, so this was written by Amber Benson and Christopher Golden. So Amber Benson is the person that played Tara in the TV show, and Christopher Golden is just a author, novelist. He wrote a lot of Buffy fan fiction. So way back, even when Buffy was actually on TV, Christopher Golden was writing Buffy fan fiction. So he's a frequent person that used to write books about the Buffyverse, even when the Buffyverse was still going live in the world and when Buffy was still on. So I will read the back of the book. I will tell you what I liked, what I didn't like, tell you about my recipe. I've actually got a lot of other stuff to tell you because I'm such a Buffy fan. I got some more stuff, exciting stuff to tell you about the Buffy world because there's a lot going on there right now. All right. So Audible original, Slayers, a Buffyverse story. This was released in 2023, so a couple years ago. Original cast members from the beloved TV series Buffy the Vampire Slayer reunite for an all-new adventure about connections that never die, even if you bury them. A decade has passed since the epic final battle that concluded Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV. The game-changing spell that gave power to all potential Slayers persists. With new Slayers constantly emerging, things are looking grim for the bad guys. Rebellious vampire Spike, James Marsters, is working undercover in Los Angeles with his old pal Clem, James Charles Leary, when he meets feisty rookie Slayer Indira, Layla DeLeon Hayes, who wants Spike to be her mentor. Stakes intensify as Cordelia Chase, Charisma Carpenter, emerges from an alternate reality where she alone is the Slayer, and Buffy Summers doesn't exist. Cordelia enlists Spike's help with a classic big bad terrorizing her world, his ex, Drusilla, Juliet Landau. Giles, Anthony Head, Anya, Emma Caulfield Ford, Jonathan, Danny Strong, and Tara, Amber Benson also return. But through the years and the vastness of the multiverse, not everyone is who they used to be. Slayers, a Buffyverse story is written and directed by Amber Benson and Chris Golden and co-directed by Casey Wayland. All right, so I gave this book 3.25 stars. I did like it. You know, I liked it a little bit more than liked. I didn't love it, which is odd because, like, I love Buffy. What did I like about it? Well, I really loved hearing all of my favorite people narrating it. So I'm from England, and in England, we really like the radio over there. So in England, we have something called like Radio 4, and in England, like, we put, like, people actually listen to the radio, and like you will have things like this where you are actually, like, famous people are creating dramatic readings and dramatic things about, like, you know, stories basically for the radio, and people actually will listen to them. Whereas you don't really have that over here. People don't really get into that in this country for some reason, but where I'm from, they do. And so I really enjoyed listening to this and hearing all of these people who I, you know, during my youth and young adulthood, I really came to really love these folks. You know, so they were a big part of my life, really important to me. You know, my oldest child would have been named Cordelia had he been a girl. So yeah. So what did I not like about it? Well, I feel like the story wasn't the best. It wasn't very believable. And I know you might say, like, not any of it's believable, Ruth. It's about vampires. But I'm just saying, like, in the scheme of all things Buffy, I just felt like it was kind of bland. Like, the ending was kind of bland. I just didn't feel like I really bought into it at all. I just couldn't quite buy it. So I still really loved it. I still absolutely am super glad I'm really glad I listened to it. I would absolutely listen to another one if they came out with another one. So it's not that I don't think it was worth my time. It was absolutely. But I just felt like it wasn't quite the same echelon as the show itself. So that's how I felt about that. So let me tell you though about some other things that I'm really, really loving right now. So one of them is Charisma Carpenter, who plays Cordelia in the show and in this episode, or in this book. She has a podcast that she has just come out with this year called The Bitch Is Back. And it is a first watch podcast where she obviously grew up being on the show. So she was in both Buffy and Angel. And while she was working, and she never watched the show. And she has never watched the show, which is odd. So she is going back and watching the show now, and she's doing a podcast about it. So it's on Patreon. You can like subscribe to her so that you can see the first episode for free, where it's cool. She has Darla, the person who plays kind of one of the first vampires. Like, she's one of the first vampires you ever meet in the show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's her first guest she ever has on. And she's apparently really good friends with her. And so it's really neat. So she's going through and watching the episodes and reacting to them. And her perspective is just really interesting. And for me, it's just been very cool to just hear how she's viewing some things and like go back and watch them over again and just like really see it through a different lens and hear about some different things that were going on at the time and just like what it was like to be a part of the cast and just kind of like understanding, and just like thinking about it from a different way and like recognizing different things that I didn't recognize before. Like, oh, that is weird and creepy that Xander was looking at Buffy in that dress. Well, I'd never noticed that before, but I really appreciate seeing that perspective. And I just love Charisma Carpenter. To me, she can do no wrong. That girl is amazing. So love her. She's doing that right now. Totally check that out. The other thing that's super exciting is Buffy is coming back, guys. She's coming back. So they are bringing back Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's coming back like in the future, like however many years it's been since the show ended. They had 7 seasons. So it's doing kind of like a 20 years later, picking up where not where they left off, but like 20 years later. And Buffy's going to be in it. There's other people that are I don't know who else is coming back from the original cast, but I know Buffy's coming back. And then they're having other people that are going to be in it that are going to be main characters. So that's super exciting. They're working on it. It's going to be good. I know, you may know if you follow the Buffy world that Joss Whedon is out. He did some not so nice. He did not treat people well. So he is kind of he's on the outs with everyone. So he's not being a part of this new Buffy situation. Obviously he'll probably get he's the creator, so he has to have some kind of royalties, I'm sure, from it, but it's definitely something that they're moving on without him and doing this project. So super excited. Buffy's coming back. Yay. So for the food to go with this book, Clem, who I didn't really talk about, he's from the later seasons of the Buffy Angel group. He's like a guy with big ears, likes to gamble, likes to eat kittens, at least play with kittens. And so it's kind of funny, kind of comic, very sweet guy. Demon of some kind, but like a good one. So anyway, I have kitten-shaped cookies that I have for you in honor of Clem. And then for my nails, you can see here, I've got like some pretty vampire-ish nails here with the red and the black. When I saw this one, I was like, that's definitely the nail I'm going to wear for the Vampire Slayer book. It's called Crimson Chaos, and it absolutely played in perfectly for this book with all the blood and the guts. There we go. So I thoroughly enjoyed this book. It did feel like I wasn't really, I mean, I listened to audiobooks sometimes, and obviously this was an audiobook because it's an Audible only, Audible original. But it did almost feel like I was watching a TV show rather than listening to a book, because there was even a soundtrack to it and everything, and like sound effects. So it did feel a little bit like cheating, you know. But hey, I'm excited to be able to have shared it with all of you. I hope you'll check it out because it's super cool and way worth it. And thanks to my husband, because guess what? He's the one that bought it for me on Audible, because he knew how much I liked Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So a long time ago, he bought it for me. So thanks, babe. All right. I hope everyone has a good week. I'll see you back here next week for another exciting episode of Ruth Reacts to Books. Bye.